So let's start with this team, and all three of you can respond. We don't have to do it individually. So what do you think was the major thing that you accomplished today, if anything? Today.
Well, we with the exercise we did yesterday about how we're about practicing how we're going to validate our hypothesis. It helped us because yesterday we were doing some chats, not interviews over chat over the internet.
Okay.
And so we could focus on asking for their opinions and not we didn't even mention what we're doing exactly. So it helped us because people felt more relaxed, and the information they gave us was more. They weren't answer what they really feel, not only to.
So what's the primary thing you learned, do you think, yesterday?
Not to sell the idea exactly.
But what did you actually know? So that's great. But what did you learn from your customers, from the conversations that you had? What was the best piece of learning?
They do have the problem, but we are not sure if they're going to pay for it.
Okay. So, do you have something to add?
We're targeting journalists, so we found out that journalists had the problem that they need to find their info very quickly, but we also found out that they think it's the newspaper's problem to solve, not theirs. That's a new thing.
So that was all yesterday. So what did you guys do today?
We worked on our elevator pitch.
Yeah.
The way that we were doing before, it was kind of with our intuition only, and we could do it in a more structured way. So we have these elements like who is the customer, why are we selling this product, what is the difference between our product and the product that already exists.
So did you make any progress today on the risk that you actually found yesterday that you're not sure that anybody would pay?
No. Today we spent all the day trying to create a technique for approaching and getting to the pricing range. We still don't know how much they were willing to pay, and we were trying to figure out how we would be doing the asking for them. If we're going to call, if we're going to give them our website, if we want to try to set the initial price, or we want to just we're just thinking on that.
Yeah, one of the hardest things about customer development is you can always sit around inside trying to figure out what the best way is to actually get outside. You guys identified yesterday, actually two things you identified yesterday. One was, would people be willing to pay? And two was, what are some phrases other than statistics?
Yeah.
So I actually think that today you had two things that you could have done some more customer development on, but you didn't. And part of the whole thing about lean startups and customer development is actually moving as quickly as possible. It's learning those things before you run out of time or before you run out of money. So these are the things that actually you don't want whole days to go by. So it's very great that you actually identified risks, right? You identified risks to your business model. One is that we're not able to articulate our message, and two, do we have a business model at all if people are not willing to pay? So once you have uncovered those risks, then job one is to go and try to mitigate those risks, not sort of sitting around trying to think of what might be the best way to figure that out.
So tomorrow, what's your plan?
We're going to the event today.
Oh, tonight. Okay.
Yeah. And it's an entrepreneur-related event. So in our segmentation, we say that our product can be used by journalists or entrepreneurs. Last night we checked with the journalists, and tonight we want to check with the entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Using these tools, like avoiding the word statistics, and focus most on market knowledge, and also. Before we used to ask, would it be useful? Now we're gonna ask, are you willing to pay? Not ask, but said, will you pay $100 for the information?
Yeah, the other way is you might want to first get them to talk about the pain, right, of not having the data. then telling them, well, if you could subscribe to a service or if you could pay for it, how much value would that be? How much money would that save, like based on your own time? So try to extract value before you ask about price. So if they say that it does save them time and money, you already know it's providing them value. So then if they say, no, I won't pay for it, then those two things are not in concert, right? There's a conflict there because almost anybody would pay something if it saves them enough time, right? So try to extract value before you talk about money. But that's great, your day's not over yet. You're gonna go do some more customer development, so perhaps you can accomplish your goals today after all. Okay, so Ricardo, I understand you got out of the building a little bit, I think, last night and maybe some today. So I'm curious, what is the best learning that you've accomplished over the last couple of days in terms of customer development?
Yeah, well, actually, I started with assumptions, yeah, which was something we talked yesterday about. And it was very important for me to make clear most of those assumptions because I'm still on the segmentation stage. So I went to talk to this hotel's manager, and I explained pretty quick the concept I have, and I asked her about the pains, the real pains, and I tried to understand a little bit more about the way they see energy efficiency. And she gave me great input because I was, I think, more prepared to hear why they wouldn't do it, because this is like a cheap style hotel, you don't see fancy stuff there. It's extended stay concept. But when I explained her about me as a user, how I see the opportunities to save energy, she basically said to everything, oh yeah. And actually something really nice is that they actually are already doing, or they already have an initiative and they invested in some equipment only to save air conditioner. So basically she said she showed me documents and even the quotation, suppliers, everything they invested on to save energy, because obviously air conditioner is like the most important load. And then when I just went to the corporate or your hotel, or if you had to take the decision to invest in more technology to keep producing energy, would you do it, or what are you interested to invest? What is the most important, let's say, facts that would make you take a decision? And she started saying, of course she said yes. She gave me even numbers, which was very valuable. She said, we spent $10,000 a month last March, and then this year we spent $6,000. So in 1 year we had a 40% reduction in energy bills. She gave me numbers about how much it would represented from the corporate sales. It was like 2-point-something% on savings from our sales. So it seemed like she was kind of really informed, even though she reports to a corporate. But she was quite informed. I asked her also about if she heard about a smart meter, which is like a utility, initiatives or programs, and she did. I thought she wouldn't even know that. She's like, no, yeah, of course I know a smart meter. Yeah, the utility, oh great.
This sounds like an early adopter, which is
right.
Great.
And it was for me amazing to know that even though she was an administrative person, she knew very well about energy stuff, about even technical names. So it made my job easier to explain what exactly was my product doing, So at the end she gave me great inputs, she gave me contacts. She said, if you have a product, just call this guy, he is a VP, corporate, blah, blah, blah. He will be very happy to receive the product and maybe test it. Of course we want a cheap product and very effective. That's all we're looking for. I don't care about anything else. If it's made in California and Mexico, wherever, just cheap and effective. Maybe you bring a test, we test it, and if it reduces energy, we want to do that. So it was like she opened new fields that I didn't even think about, And so I have another 2 appointments with the same type of persons. She gave me some other contacts from the same field, So like start doing some networking, and yeah, well, it was great. It was great.
So it's a great story. I love that not only did you you do the customer problem solution, but you've actually also learned a lot about the sales and marketing funnel that it takes to sell into this particular B2B vertical. So you've learned that this level of manager of a hotel actually is very involved in these initiatives, and that's a good foray, but also what the decision-making process might be and what the title is of the corporate person that might be the one.
VP of purchase, actually,
Right.
or something like that.
Right.
So that's great.
So I think it's a great example of how when you have your core objectives to learn, but you also realize that there's these other things that are going to be valuable down the road, and you learn them all in one meeting. So I think that's an excellent job.
Yeah, I think it's nice to know when you mention some words. I think I was trying to also to get how, I mean, corporate-wise, how deep is, for example, in this case, energy matters, you know? Because you can smell when those kind of things interest to anyone in the company. It's something really
Right.
important, you know? Because if she said, oh, if it's cheap, maybe we could, but you know, I'm not the person to buy those things. Then, you know, they
Not-
don't
not-
even
no
care about it.
interest.
No, she was really passionate.
And
There
it
was
was-
some point that she was always talking, I couldn't really say anything. You know?
And how did the phrase green go over?
She mentioned it actually, because
Okay.
when I asked her, okay, this is great, cost, but have you thought on using this stuff do you sell this concept to your customers? I mean, do your customer really care about that you are
So
investing?
you mean the people that are staying at the...
That's right.
Right.
I said, oh yeah, actually, she took an advertisement and said, yeah, we show this, we are actually selling the green stuff. She mentioned about green, you know.
Right.
I said, oh great, that's what I'm talking about now.
So yeah, the other thing that I love about this story is that you know you're getting real validation when you actually haven't teased that information out, but that your potential customer is actually using the phrases
Yeah.
that you most wanted to hear.
Right.
I mean, that is the epitome of validation.
She gave me her email and she said, you know what, just keep me informed. You know, that's funny. If you talk to, you wait, you have your product, talk to this guy, this VP guy, and let me know how it goes. I said, well, definitely.
Isn't that great?
First
Isn't that
one to know.
awesome? Yeah.
That's great.
So how did your customer development go the last couple of days?
All right.
Good.
Go ahead. You are the expert in this. So.
I'm not, but that's such good. So, I had a fun interview today, which was very fortunate with a human resource recruiter. She actually recruits developers for a new shore operation. It was very nice from her. I contacted her last night, and she agreed to have an interview today, which is a holiday, so, well, that was so nice. So we had this fun interview. And I think we have to polish a little bit more what we're delivering to the company. She liked the idea. I think I learned the most about what are her daily hassles. Like, I don't like these, I have to post in all these many sites, and then the CVs, they do not come all in the same format, so I have a problem to read all of them and try to see in depth if this person is really or not qualified. So I think she get a very good insight on how the product design should be to attack those things. And let me see, because I just had the interview.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Some
Yeah.
processing. I also found out something very interesting. Like, plenty of people use LinkedIn because LinkedIn can solve this thing about like having a standard resume. But people actually don't like it very much. They said like, oh, it's so I get desperate when I use LinkedIn because I can't contact people. I have to wait for someone to give me permission to get in contact with them. So on one hand, of course, this is very good for LinkedIn. But on the other hand, she as a recruiter has this problem that she has to solve very fast.
Right.
So I think we may have some point here of pain there, that if we can address it, it could be something good, because it's one source. About the job boards, of course, they say like, well, it's generic, it's just like, you get tons of people. So I'm quite happy with it, and I will be looking forward like getting some of these issues into product design. That will be important.
Does she? Did the bounty issue ever came up with
Yeah.
this? Yeah.
Yeah, she's already using a kind of bounty. That's an iPad.
Okay,
it's more
sure,
an internal
yeah.
sort of thing, but I
Yeah.
liked it. So I came with like, Emma, how's it working for you? And she said that, well, out of 10 people, actually only 2 work well. The main pain there is that people inside will just tag all their friends to see if they can get an iPad.
Good point.
So I think we also have to work these out to say,
Yeah.
okay, you get a reward, but only if this person is good. So how would you care that it's good enough? And I think we could solve it with the ranking part of
we already
the product. But we have to keep aware that this is an issue and how to work it. Because if the database starts just throwing CVs that are
Right.
irrelevant, people won't use it.
See,
So
I didn't
I think it's much more something about fine-tuning the product design. But so far I'm happy.
So did you get to the point of actually telling her what your idea was?
Yes.
And so what, did she have sort of a high level reaction to that? What was she?
Well, she was not passionate, but I told her what was our idea, and I told her that I also would like to hear what the questions would arise. Like, you hear these, I don't want to sell right now, so I
Sure.
want to know, what would you think about buying this product?
Right.
Like, would you? And I got a very important issue is like a trust factor. I need to know that the people I'm getting in and CVs are actually like
Qualified.
are qualified and
Yeah.
are people. And I think this is the biggest challenge we will have. If we get through these, it will run by itself.
Right.
But would we have to get to this point?
Interesting.
So I validated because I thought it was like the main question. So I validated that it is, and we have to figure out a way to solve it.
Right.
To make it clear.
Yeah, well, in my side, yesterday we talked with one of the entrepreneurs already working in the accelerator program here in Tecpa, and he's interested in our services. We will try to run this as a simulation, a concierge model. We are just working in the proposal we will make to him, in order to how we are going to manage everything.
That's a great idea. So,
Yeah, so we will do everything manually.
Right.
I got some insights also from who said that we will we'll try to sell the idea doing the same concierge
Right.
approach. Also, what I do today, we already had some input from a survey we applied some weeks ago, and I analyzed again that information based on what we learned, and what I saw is that for people answering the survey with a lot of connections, like a very VIP connector like Hidden Cha from his metrics, he answered our survey some weeks ago. They don't find really high value to pay a bounty because they are so well connected. So it's not difficult for them, like put a tweet and receive a lot of applications.
Interesting.
However, he may use that kind of application, and the quantity of the reward he plays is above the average. So,
Right.
And for the rest that are normal social network guys, the average right now is 500, and that the tendency is that they will use it.
So to me, it sounds like you guys learned quite a bit. I think what is always the interesting thing is to learn these hidden motivations that really are not, they're not guessable beforehand. And you hear things like, well, yeah, if you incentivize people with money, then they're just going to throw their whole network at you, and they couldn't care, let the recruiter deal with actually trying to find the quality candidates. And of course, that's exactly the problem that the recruiters face, is that they're already inundated with non-qualified candidates. And so it seems so obvious now, but when I was looking at it just from my own perspective, it was, the bounty makes a lot of sense. So uncovering those incentives and the motivations that happen, especially when rewards and those type of things are offered, that's an interesting insight. So yeah, it sounds like but there's also definitely a lot of pain there, right? So,
Yeah.
which is why there's probably a lot of companies that are trying to tackle this particular market, is nobody's really figured out how to solve some of these core problems. So yeah, that's a good job. You have more recruiters lined up to talk to then?
Yeah, well, I expect to, like, wait for their answers, send some mails, and see
Okay.
if they come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have two kind of surveys or interviews, because are the ones that are hiring and the ones have a good, they are connectors.
Right.
So we need to validate both and more with the connectors, because we have been working more with the recruiters. So now we have to see with how they feel, the connectors, how they feel about it.
I couldn't get too much quality information
Right.
because three places where I went were no longer there. So maybe that tell me something. I mean, the offices were empty, and I think that's maybe because they move a lot, or actually because they don't have money.
These are the real estate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
real estate. And in one case, I went to a big company, and actually I couldn't talk to the manager or some salesperson, but they already has resolved some of these uses, because they have a very high investment on hardware and telecommunication systems, but they didn't have like a way to do this easily. I mean, they need to call their technical guy and ask for the analytics and other things. And in the other cases, I only talked to the receptionist, secretary, so she didn't tell me.
What kind of company was this bigger company that you went to? Was it also real estate, or was it?
Yeah, real estate.
Was it?
That's the one that is from here.
Was it commercial real estate?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you say that they have investment in these
Yeah.
more expensive phone systems. So do they actually ever run those reports? Do they actually ever request those reports from the vendor, or are they just not that concerned about it?
It's not concerned about.
They're not that concerned about it. So obviously that's potentially good learning too. Like maybe that isn't the best market segment.
Yeah.
And we talked about that the other day, right? So one of the things I would think you would want to do is start looking at alternative market segments and maybe testing those at a low level as well. Those certainly you probably haven't talked to enough in that particular market to definitely dismiss them, but it is some important learning as well.
Yeah.
I think that's in many ways more valuable than getting 3 good answers, is getting it. Dismissing a customer segment may be more valuable than validating it in this particular circumstance. It allows you to focus a lot more.
What size company do you think that was? How many employees do you know?
I don't know, but they have all the last floor.
So they have quite a few people up
Yeah.
there. So it may be that also your target market is companies that are slightly
Yeah.
smaller, they
Yeah.
can't afford those phone systems.
Yeah, I think so.
Either that or just their pain's not high enough. I mean, I would think even those type of companies, if their pain was high enough, they'd be calling that company and getting those reports as often as possible, right? So if they're not ordering those reports, then that maybe is an indication that they don't have that level of pain.
What's your plan for tomorrow?
Well, I'm trying to find another market and try to reach them, talk to them.
What's your guess at the next market segment to test?
Home services.
What should I say?
Yeah, what should you say? You should say, everything is going great. I found 25 paying customers. I've hired a technical co-founder. We're hard at work building the product. Tech BA is the best thing that ever happened to me. Okay, you ready? Okay, so
It's what I've learned in the last days
what
from the customers.
from customer development? Have you talked to customers? What is sort of the best learning that you got? What surprised you talking to customers?
Okay. first thing I've learned. Well, I got on the phone with a potential customer. It was a really strange use case yesterday. He's an motorcycle oil distributor in the Amazon jungle, and he needs to monitor his sales from his faraway stores, like they're in the middle of the jungle, but they have internet. So he needs to know how sales are going. He was actually on his way in the car to see his accountant. So and so that tells me, and he told me that he was going to decide with his accountant whether he used this or something else. And he asked about prices too. I threw up a number, and I said $30 a month per user. He thought he was like kind of ambivalent about it, but it seemed bearable. He told me he needed 4 users, and so I think first accountants are important in the decision-making process, because they're going to be the ones that are going to have to use this if the business owner tells them. So I better find something that's appealing to them.
So my question is are there existing solutions for this guy's problem?
Sharing files through email.
Sharing files is the only way? There's no other system that they could use presently? I mean, I'm just kind of curious, having one data point, whether this guy is just sort of ignorant of the market and he stumbled across you,
Probably.
or whether, yeah.
I mean, there are solutions in English, and very like targeted to American or European businesses.
But they'll sell there? He could buy that if he wants to, or no?
Well, I mean, he could use that online, but I don't know if it would work for him. I don't even know if his accountant speaks English.
Yeah, those would be interesting things to find out though, right?
Yeah.
Since you are competing against American companies potentially,
Yeah.
whether the language that it's in is important would be critical to whether you actually have enough differentiation in the market.
Yeah, not just, I mean, language wouldn't be a thing that we would seek to differentiate our product from the other ones. You know?
So how did you find this person?
He sent me an email with his phone number.
Based on your landing page?
Yeah, from my landing page.
How many people did you collect email addresses from your landing page?
So I've been collecting emails for about a month. I have like around 2,000 email addresses.
So how many of these people that you have email addresses have you spoken to?
I'm actually writing a survey right now to.
Why are you writing a survey?
Because I wanna be sure. I asked them if they're either accountants and they need it for their clients, if they are small businesses and they need it for their business, or if they need it for personal, like for tax purposes. I actually just added a new one because I suspect a lot of them are students, and I just added a new option to ask them if they're students and they're looking to do their homework.
Right. So I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I have sort of a response that was similar to the team over here. It's like if you've had these emails for a month.
What am I waiting for, right?
Why are you even doing a survey? I mean, I think surveys are great,
Oh,
but you could have sent out 10 emails today to figure out those same questions.
yeah, so that's what I want to do with the email. You ask them these questions. That's what I'm writing down. Like how are you doing your accounting right now? And do you know of any other solutions?
I think Brand's point is you could write an email just saying, hey, would you mind if I call you? I have some questions about the solution.
Yeah, I'm going to add that at the end, but I'm going to just put the questions in the email and maybe they'll answer it right there.
How long does it take to build this email?
I'm doing it right now. So it'll be out by 6 o'clock.
You know, we do that. I would do that,
Yeah.
but with the ones that are not Hotmail or that stuff, I would just pick the ones that look like a company name. Write an email, can I call you? And I call them.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, 10 of them or whatever. could be.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
you-
it
if
sounds a
you have
little bit
2,000
like, it sounds a little bit to me like you actually don't want to talk to them live.
No, I actually do. I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the best way to go.
So you just want to qualify them a little bit more. So I understand that, and I actually think that's what Ricardo is saying is you can qualify so you're not wasting your time on the phone with people that aren't in the right market. But I mean, I guess I just think that I think I could have done that in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why it's taken you sort of 2 days to actually construct an email.
Well, I've been really busy like on this workshop stuff, but really, I mean, I wanna
Feel free to duck out of a class to write that email.
I could have helped you with the email even. So I mean, I think that
Yeah, but it's not just the email. Like I want to do, I'm doing different landing pages and putting up some pricing.
yeah, see, the problem is, you could actually always figure out one other thing to do in order to make your
Oh, yeah.
test perfect, and it's sort of an excuse actually not to move forward.
Actually, I want to just build a product right now. You know.
I know you want to build a product right now, right? Because actually, if you got to build the product right now, you wouldn't actually have to talk to customers. So now you're actually somebody's saying talk to customers, and you're thinking of all of these other things that you need to do before you talk to customers.
From what I've seen, like from the other products we've done, like what I've seen is the best feedbacks comes from specific, like from a specific thing that they need right at a specific moment. You know?
Yeah, you see, to me it sort of sounds like excuses, because the thing is that you could write a survey and you never would have thought to ask whether the accountant speaks English or not.
Exactly what
Those
I
are
was
the,
saying.
what?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Exactly.
I don't
But
have-
it may be a critical component. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing is that those are the things that you uncover once you speak to somebody, is that those things, oh, well, boy, I didn't think of that. Should I then go, like, create a whole new survey that tries to think of all of those
No.
type of questions?
No, I definitely want to speak with some of them. I don't know if I can make 2,000 calls, you know.
No, you
So
don't
I'm
need to
trying
do
But
to-
we're actually, we just want you to do
Just make
five.
five,
yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I've spoken to accountants in Mexico before coming here.
yeah.
So some of these things, like, they're kind of intuitive. I was thinking on doing something more, like, I thought maybe I needed like more structured data, maybe not. You know, maybe it's just about like having a chat with someone.
Yeah, I don't think you need structured data until you're trying to find out, like you can use structured data about whether there's demographics, right? Whether there's companies of a particular size, who actually makes the decision. Are there some accountants that are good targets and some aren't? And there's some of those type of questions that you can actually get in surveys. But there's other questions that are more related to fundamental risks to your business model that I think you could have already learned, pretty easily by talking 5 to 10. And then if you validated that, then I'm not even sure why you would go down a landing page path. I would start building the product. I'd start learning about what are the minimum features I need to build that'll get them to pay. I mean, that's actually the best validation, is that somebody's giving you money. So I would be moving, especially for somebody that actually wants to build the product. I would be trying to move as fast as possible to validate what are the fewest features I need that I'm actually going to start turning all those people into paying customers.
Definitely. Like, I mean, I don't know. The feedback I got yesterday was get to know who. Well, not yesterday. The day before yesterday. Like, get to know better who these people are. So I was trying to figure that out.
Well-
But maybe it's what do they need, and just start trying out if they actually use it and try to pay for it.
Just to qualify, like I think I was there when Patrick gave you that advice.
Yeah.
And I think I also said, if you can iterate this landing page in a day and get a couple more questions, fantastic.
Okay.
But we were not saying do that instead of talking to customers, do that in addition to. So just be cautious,
Yeah.
exactly what he said about, don't use that as an excuse to not talk to people. Like, just go and send 5 emails right now to people on that list, okay, and then do your survey. You can do that while you're waiting for those 5 responses.
Sure. I'll tell you, but like the exercise, I didn't think like it was useful to go around here asking how they do their accounting, because I know everybody uses just QuickBooks or Mint,
I think that's fine, you didn't
So-
go, because that's not your target
That's fine,
market, then
yeah.
there's no sense in talking to them.
So what I did was an exercise for another idea, just
Okay.
to do the talking to people.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
That
thing.
was good.
So I went to several restaurants and small businesses around downtown and asked them about their loyalty programs.
Uh-huh. Those are always popular conversations.
Yeah, and so I had a huge range of responses from we're not interested in having a loyalty program right now,
Yeah,
to like magnetic cards with points and complicated stuff, to a guy who had just like cards with which you made crosses on it. And,
Yeah.
and he was a French restaurant owner who opened 4 months ago. He's by the university, and he told me that he's got calls from people doing local deals stuff every day, all the time, trying to get him into a program. And so he told me that he was very like worried about having his customers on Facebook or on Twitter and annoying them with too many promotions, and
right,
he doesn't really want to spam them.
right.
So he was thinking about like just giving them something for free on their birthday and emailing them a day before.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, and so the girl at M1, the place with the empanadas, for the startup weekend where we had breakfast, they just put a photocopy, a small form where you can give them your email, and she wasn't there to ask how many people do they get there, but that's what they have in front of their store. And they also give you something for free on your birthday.
Yeah, there's a million people trying to tackle that particular
Yeah.
thing, so, yeah.
And so, like, I asked this guy, what if I print some cards with a secret code on them so people could register and get something for free from your place? And would you put them in the counter? He said, well, if you give them to me for free, I will try them maybe 1 or 2 days at
Yeah,
most
yeah.
and see how it works. But I really need, like, he said, the most important thing to me is I really need to see the results, if it really generates more sales or not. Like,
Right.
And I would love if you could tell me some numbers about
Successes.
like successes
Yeah.
and how much more sales can I make from something like this. And then like, he didn't want something too complicated.
Right.
And so that's what I learned from the getting out of building stuff.
Well, that's good.
For
I actually,
another product, you know.
yeah, but I mean, just getting, that's good. I can see that you're not reluctant to talk to customers, so that's good. You know, I think that in your accounting idea, you need to decide whether your idea is validated.
Yeah.
If your idea is validated, then stop validating the idea.
I think it is.
Right, I mean, so it should be,
I don't.
I mean, lots of the guys here said they had the same problem.
I prefer to be validated from a complete stranger personally, but
Oh, yeah, but some of these guys, like I've been talking to them during
Yeah.
these days, and they say, I have the same problem at my place, and I can never know, like Rodrigo said it in the morning, my accountant takes 2 days to tell me the information, and some of them actually offered to try it and to even pay for it.
well,
And, yeah.
let me
so
pose a question to
some
Brent
words
based on that.
right now.
Yeah. My opinion when I was first learning customer validation was that I would talk to 5 people, and if I still felt confident, felt it was more validated, then I would proceed on to more quantitative data. And then I'd go back to qualitative data and make sure again that I'm still on the right track, or maybe try and verify minimum feature sets and so on and so forth. But it was never a question of I was totally, oh, this idea is valid. It was just I'm more certain, and I'm prepared to take the next stop, but not it's valid, let's go build it.
No.
What's your opinion on the process there
Well, see,
when to switch to quantitative data?
yeah, I mean, I think with somebody with 2,000 emails, I think that by now I would have already had surveys done and talked to at least a dozen of them and would already have an understanding, I think, of whether this idea is validated at all. Matter of fact, it's not that different than what I've already done with, say, Unassumr.
Mhm.
The thing is that I think that you can get a feeling of it's being validated, and it still doesn't mean go build the product. It really starts meaning, what do I minimally need to build? And so then it starts really going down the prototyping path as quickly as possible, though. I mean, accounting can be complex. Accounting can be huge. You could literally spend the next year building
Or
it.
3 or 5. Or 10.
Exactly. And so the question then becomes that you need to ask yourself is, how long am I willing to work on the product without knowing that I'm going to be able to sell it? And if that answer is a year, I mean, then don't be a lean startup. If that answer is, I can actually build something in 2 weeks or 30 days or something like that, and I'm working with a set of 5 or 10 customers that I think are my early adopters, and I can show them stuff, and I can say, and they can help me determine that I'm on the right path, or I've asked them questions in a certain way where they've told me, I'm in so much pain. I mean, seriously, if people are in as much pain as you think they are, or they're saying they are, then there is some minimum that's way short of a whole accounting package that they're going to be willing to use and pay for, without you having a completed product. And that's really what I would want to discover. So if the again, let me say it again. If the people are in as much pain as you're saying, this guy who's in Peru, who has 4 locations, how badly does he need that data? And what minimally can you build that he would have a crappy looking website that's got a column that gives him daily, hourly updates on his 4 sites? And how long would it take you to build that? And how much would you pay for it? So again, it's not, what are my requirements? What are my specs? Who am I going to hire to do this? I've got a 6-month project. It's like, no, I'm going to go hire an engineer who's going to take 5 days and build this crappy little website, and somebody's going to import that data, and he's going to get what he needs in 2 weeks, and he's going to start paying me $30 a month for it for each of the users. That's what I would actually be trying to find out, and I would be trying to find 5 or 10 customers exactly like that guy that will buy that minimum stuff, because you could potentially build a business on that minimum stuff, and you don't need the whole accounting package, and you're down the road to maybe building a big business.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in building a whole accounting package. I mean, we've been doing that in Mexico in my trust fund accounting company for 3 years, and we haven't finished. So I know it can be long,
Right.
I don't really want to do something so complicated. I have some intuition about what the minimum features
Right.
would need to be, like something about just sales and expenses, just recording that. Something, I've heard about some bank reconciliation, like automatically importing bank statements in whatever form that they are, and then just crushing the data.
So writing that stuff up actually might not be sufficient enough to get people to imagine whether that would be enough to pay for it, but actually maybe doing mock-ups of what you think the features will look at, and spend time. Get a designer that actually can make a good-looking application and do the letter of intent type of thing. I mean, you don't really need to get them to sign a letter of intent, but go and have somebody mock up the 3 or 4 most important features that you think, and I would start showing it to those people and saying, is this enough to get you to start paying? And you'll be so far down the path of getting to where you want to be, which is building the product and giving revenue, that, I mean, if you think the idea has been validated enough, I swear I would just jump at it. I would go. I mean, again, the point is that you don't want to spend custom development and wasting cycles doing that. It's all relative to how much time and money you're willing to spend on building the product.
So I have a month to get the revenue going. My goal is to have the first customers by the end of the program, and so I gotta figure out how to be fast during this month.
Yeah. So I think the thing is that the the nice thing about calling and emailing these people is finding the 5 or 10 people that are like, you know, hey, is the product ready today? I'm ready. You know, that they're pushing you to get those minimum features done. And so out of those 2,000 emails that you have, you know, I would just be kicking butt trying to find those 10 users that are going to be kicking my butt to get the product in their hands so they can start paying me.
Yeah. I'm gonna go that way, like asking them how urgent like this is.
How urgent? And start mocking up your ideas.
Yeah.
And
'Cause
so you have something to show them. This is what I'm building.
Because the guy in Peru, he said it was really urgent. Like he had to make a decision.
It sounds like it's
this
really
week.
urgent.
Yeah.
This week.
So you might lose him, but I mean,
Yeah, I'm probably gonna.
the thing is that,
doesn't matter.
you know, get somebody to mock up your intuition of what those features are that are minimum. Get somebody to mock it up and send it to him, saying, "This is what I'm building. Can you wait 2 weeks?"
Sure, definitely. That's. I mean. It's,
But you need 10 of those guys, not one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go to your 2,000 list and find the other 10.
I'm onto it.
Do whatever it takes to get those 10. It's not a survey necessarily. Do the best thing, the most time-efficient thing to find the other 10.
Yeah, by survey I meant like 3 questions
Whatever.
in an email.
Whatever, I don't
Yeah.
care what it is.
Yeah.
That's up to you. I'll leave that to the entrepreneur. All I'm saying is that you should be busting your 8 hours or 10 hours you have a day, finding those 10 people. So you don't lose these guys, that they're the ones they're paying you. And that's the real validation.
So if I can make a suggestion for tomorrow, since we have Tim LaFoy coming in,
Yeah.
bust your ass tonight.
I mean,
Like,
taking apart, the food industry, I think I have several learnings from this stage. For a industry that is faced to consumer, it's a business to consumer, I think it's very, very absolutely important to understand your consumer. What's your target market? How do they behavior? What do they think? What do they believe? What do they influence him or her? So I think it's very having that, understanding that, I think it's easier to develop the whole strategy. Meaning,
well, I believe already 3 days ago you knew all of that. Like you have your segmentation down to like 1% or 99% accuracy.
yes.
So what did you do? I think the question is today
After that,
to learn the next step.
actually, it was very important. What was very interesting, the conversation I had today with this
Mhm.
distributor, because it tells you that even if there are people who are very interested so far in your potential product, you have to be aware that maybe it's not the correct partner, because you have to understand that they have their own interests and goals and targets, and maybe it would be not very empathic with yours.
So what's the concrete example? I don't quite understand.
Yes, the thing is that after saying the product, after showing, after doing basically numbers, and after talking with him, you say maybe they want to tackle one market, and he's very interested with the products because it will achieve their goals. But maybe because of my market segmentation strategy, it's not always, it would be not the correct partner maybe for this kind of distributor.
So
The bottom line is that not because somebody is interested in your product will be your interest will go with him, basically.
kind of my question is, you keep on saying maybe. So when you spoke to this guy, was he vague, or were you not sure if you know what I mean? I'm not quite sure what you're saying. You're saying that it's important to learn this, but you're not telling me whether or not you learned this guy was a good partner, or he was targeting the same segment as you. Did he feel like the right type of guy for you, or no?
Not really.
Okay.
I think she's just saying that maybe because it was really only one data point, so it doesn't mean that
All right.
there's-
All right.
But, this profile of people,
Yeah.
this interest, maybe I have to interview other 3 or
Okay.
these.
All right. Now I understand. I was a little confused.
Yes.
So what's your plan for tomorrow?
Well, working in other things that is not related with this project because
Ah,
we have
okay.
to deliver other products
Fair enough.
for another customer basically.
Yeah,
Fair
so the
enough.
question really is, what is the, did you interact with customers in the last couple of days, and what was the most important lesson that you learned from your customers? Not from the workshop, but from your customers.
Well, first, the most important part is to know about their problem that they could have. And to see if we have any solution that we can propose to them. So I need to know about their products, about their activities. It is like trying to figure out all the landing about them.
So did you talk to anybody?
Just by email.
Mm.
Yes, I talked about one company, Ceramic.
And did you learn anything interesting from them?
Yes. Well, it's about I've been talking about is which software do they use, about how is the manufacturing process. So maybe we can do some appointment to talk about it.
Did you learn anything surprising? I mean, was there?
So he's actually, so I guess he's really doing channel analysis. He's validating his channel hypothesis because he has the existing product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Did you learn anything surprising?
Well, actually no.
No.
Actually no. It's almost I was expecting. So.
So in some ways that's good because you're saying that it's not so much different than the sales process in Mexico so far.
Yeah, it's pretty similar, but the only differences is like here in the U.S. the companies try to send some work for Asia or another
So you're
countries to.
there's
reduce.
like more competition on price drivers, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the past, here in the U.S., try to do all the development, but actually the companies are looking for outsourcing to reduce the cost, and for the China competence.
Tell them about the company you told me that is going to launch, that they just started, or going to start operations next month, or the prototype company.
Ah, yeah.
I think that's relevant as well.
Yeah, okay. Also, I figured out about a company that is going to have an open house for my 5. I already invited to by meet up group. So it is doing the same that we want to do. So that's why I'm gonna see. I want to talk to them about what is the plan. So maybe it's just to figure out about the market here.
Competitive intelligence, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and they are. It is very similar because they are also in the aerospace market and the biomedical. So that's very interesting.
Cool.
Good.
Aerospace is getting pretty hot in Mexico.
Oh, is it?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Oh, are they supplying to the spaceport over here?
they haven't, but many companies are coming to aerospace, and there's like a country initiative, and several governments, and I mean, local governments are fighting to bring those investments. You know, everybody now, including Jalisco, Chihuahua, Querétaro, where I live, they are all saying we're aerospace. I mean, they want to bring the big ones, and they want, the target is to build the first Mexican, well, not Mexican, but the first complete aircraft in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of the hot industries back there, you know?
Interesting.
So it's having like a, I don't know, I see it like a great selling point for Mexican companies saying that they got like operations in San Jose, you know?
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, we're working for the aerospace certification, so it could be very relevant.
Awesome.
Cool.
Cool. So